Okay, so what is modeling? Here's an example. A very simple business, nothing complicated. Now, if you have been running your own startup and business, you know more complicated examples. But here we're just starting off. So this auctioneer has a difficult business situation. What is the difficulty here? He's trying to sell a car and he needs to put it online for auction, right? So he starts the bid at 70% of what he predicts as the final winning bid. So here is a loop back. If he had sold the car for 10,000, he wants to start the bidding at 7,000, 70% of his final winning bid. But the question is this, what he sets as the starting winning bid can affect the final winning bid, right? So there's a loop back. So how do we unlock this situation? Let's think about it. If he sets it too high, what happens? Can he sell the car? If the car is supposed to have a value of $10,000 for simplicity, if it sets the starting bid at $15,000, what will happen? Can he sell the car? Well, assuming that you and I, the market participants, will check out the car prices and everything, we probably wouldn't bid, right? Because it is insane. Why are we paying so much more, right? When the car is worth $10,000. So what happens is that he might think, this auctioneer, he might think that with $15,000 he might get $5,000 worth of profits. In the end, that's his wishful thinking, right? He would not even be selling it at all. So if he doesn't sell, then what's the point of thinking of your expected profits when it doesn't come into fruition? Or if he sets it too low, a $10,000 car, he sets it at $1,000 just to, make it extreme to get the feel of it. What happens? Well, as you predicted, when he puts it online, straight away people will grab, right? So maybe people will bid at 1,005, 2,000. No, I'm going to get it at 2,005. But as it creeps closer to the actual, realizable value of the car, 3,000, probably it will just settle at 3,000. Because as the next bidder comes in and eyes the deal, as it gets closer and closer to the actual value, it's like just paying to buy a car. If it's paying to buy a car rather than a super good deal, I might as well consider other cars, right? So as the bid starts to rise, he might be the actual highest bid might just stabilize at a very low amount. So he will sell the car at $3,000, which is kind of a loss, right? It's $7,000 loss. So there's a predicament that he's facing. Set the car starting bid too high, can't sell the car. Set it too low, can sell, but very almost for sure losing money. And if you're losing money, why do you sell in the first place, right? So he comes up with this idea. Can I model this situation? How can I come up with a mathematical model that describes my situation? How much should I set the starting bid to be? Okay, so he has to do some data gathering, and from database he gets this average age deduction, $800 per year, average mile deduction, 2.5 cents per mile. Okay, so with that we can formulate a model. First of all, the expected winning bid, the winning bid. That means if you fast forward in time, the final transacted price will be the original price P, the car's original price, which can be determined from record search with the authorities. So this is the fixed number, right? We check and we find it. The current age of the car, we can determine because we know from the records how old is this car, and the mileage, just read off the odometer, and then we can form this expression, and maybe we call it W. That's the winning bid. And to finalize the business model, what this auctioneer wants is not the winning bid. What this auctioneer wants is the starting bid, right? Because I'm faced with this predicament. I have this car. I know the original price current age, mileage. I wonder, how much should I set the starting bid be? So it is going to be, in my modeling, in my expertise, 70% is the right number. We can question this 70%, right? We can question this, but let's say that's appropriate. So therefore, the model will be starting bid is 70% times the winning bid model expression. So we just substitute in the expression W, right? And we get this. And after some basic easy simplification of the coefficients, we get this outcome. So here's our mathematical model. That's it. Very simple. Find the three numbers, P, A, and M, and then we know the starting bid. Now, isn't that great? Because as my business grow bigger and bigger, I cannot be the one doing such calculations for 100 cars, So what can I do? I hire people and ask them to be trained in this model and say, John, go and find the three numbers for these 10 cars and then fill up the online form for starting bids. And it will be executing a very clear model without ambiguity, without the very little expertise that John has, and without tapping much of my time, even though I have the expertise, but I'm going to be spending so much time that I'll be better doing it myself rather than hiring John, right? So you see that this is already very useful in this simple example. So quick calculation, we can get an estimate of a starting bid at $5,460, right? So original price 12,000. Wow, that's cheap. Not in Singapore's context, right? So we can't get that. So it's probably with another zero, $125,000 for this car. Original price after how many? 4 years on of being used and 60,000 miles on odometer. Starting bid is this amount. So what's the problem with this? Are we happy with the model? Not bad. Easy, simple. Is there any problem with this model? Can there only be one model? Of course, answer is no, right? Is there a problem with this model? Well, let's look at the model. Is this the best way to describe a car? Original price, age, mileage. Not bad as a start, but not complete either, right? So example, two Toyota Corollas. Same year of registration. So let's say 10 years old. And original price, $50,000. Mileage, same, 100,000 miles. So according to this model, both should be having the same starting bid. However, when you actually look at the two cars, one is pristine, clean, and shiny. Wow, it's like amazing. They refurbish it somehow, wonderful job, nice and clean, So you go in, okay, there's a bit of wear and tear, but wow, the condition is great. Test drive it, excellent, wonderful. Engine sounds smooth and everything. The other car, same model, same age, same mileage. Yeah, you can see a bit of scratches here and there, a bit of dent. Was there accident before or what? Nope, not accounted for in this model. Doesn't look very visually attractive, but again, the model doesn't care about that. Go in for a test drive. You almost feel like after starting the engine, the car vibrates, and to the extent you have this image in your mind that if you should step on the accelerator, you remember how the car might just fly apart. The wheels might just fly apart in cartoons, right? So the car is like vibrating so much and you hardly dare to step on the accelerator just in case the final thing you're holding on to is just the steering wheel. Make sense? Yeah. So two cars providing you with the three numbers that your model has asked for should show the same starting bid. But of course, it's all going haywiring, yeah, because the two cars shouldn't have the same starting bid. So if you start to say, okay, good, we have experience, and so market buyers tend to look at condition of the car, whether engine sounds good or noisy, or so you take into account all these. So now you have 30 parameters. A new car coming, sorry, a new used car coming in, you will have to collect 30 sets of data before you can put it on lot. Is that a good model? It depends on who you're talking to and what sort of business you're in, and how comfortable are you to spend time to really go and capture the 30 sets of data, right? And can your assistants understand, appreciate those numbers, and record them properly and all. So there are various models to even describe the same situation. So there is not just one model. It can be a simple one, it can be a complicated one, but there is cost of acquiring the numbers, the data, right? The cost of acquiring the data. It's not free. The more parameters you have to fill in order to arrive at an optimal decision, for example, the starting bid, the costlier the process will become. All right. So if you're a starting company, you might not be able to afford the time, because time is money, the measurements, because you need equipment to check the decibel noisiness of the cars, just so to be correct, right? Rather than you go by subjective assessment. So you might prefer a simple model like this if you're starting up. But as you go bigger and you can afford the costs of acquiring more and more data, just to show off to the market participants that you really are into this used car sales business, well, then you might expand the model. So there is no one answer for all situations, for all companies, and that is the main point of going through all these. Yeah. So various other considerations can be taken in order to arrive at a different model.